And speaking of Colt, he says he wants to prove to everyone that he belongs in the NFL. And he got off to a nearly perfect start last night. Colt went 9 of 10 for 123 yards and 2 touchdowns as the Redskins beat the Indianapolis Colts 30-16 in last night's Hall of Fame game. He says it was exactly the type of performance he wanted.
It was such a tough draft process, such a tough couple of past months. I needed something good to finally happen. I kind of prayed for it tonight, that I'd have a great first start in my pro career, and it just worked out, and it was awesome.
Colt is currently listed as 3rd on the depth chart. The Redskins' next game is this Saturday. Unfortunately, it's not televised here in Hawaii.
The show that former Warrior QB Colt Brennan put on in the Hall of Fame game last night was nothing too new for Hawaii fans. After all, this is the same guy who broke 31 NCAA records. In case you missed it, Colt was money against the Indianapolis Colts, completing 9 of his 10 passes for 123 yards and 2 touchdowns, and he did it all in just over 1 quarter of play. But as impressive as he was, Skins head coach Jim Zorn said that he would have liked to see a few less risky throws.
He can learn from, he'll see, he has to become a more disciplined QB, not risk as much as he risked. And this week, it turned out to be great for us, a great performance, but it could have easily have been the other way. He took too much of a risk or whatever.
I really wanted something, good to happen tonight. Thankfully it did, and, it's my first impression for many more to come, 4 more games to go.
The Redskins' next game is scheduled for next week, Saturday, against the Buffalo Bills.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, is it just me, or does it seem like Coach is not in his corner yet?
Yeah. Well, I think it had probably more to do with Colt did kind of roll out and maybe scared him a little bit on the sideline rather than going through his progression.
You got to take the chance if you're going to make it happen, right?
Hey, he put on a great show nonetheless.
Colt's looking thick, too.
Yeah, put on some
Yeah, he is. I don't barely recognize him.
Warrior receiver C.J. Hawthorne is getting another shot at the NFL. Hawthorne, who was signed and then released by the Falcons after going undrafted this past April, signed on today with the Buffalo Bills. The Bills, having been bitten a tad by the injury bug at the receiver position, sought out the 5'11 speedster and immediately put him into individual drills during their afternoon practice today. Bills head coach Dick Duran describes Hawthorne as a, quote, competitive and quick, high-character guy. It was about as strong a preseason debut as anyone could have asked for. Former UH quarterback and Heisman Trophy finalist Colt Brennan took the field for the Redskins last night against Indianapolis in the annual Hall of Fame exhibition game. Washington's 6th-round draft pick went 9 for 10 for 123 yards and 2 touchdowns. Impressive, no doubt. But impressive enough for head coach Jim Zorn? Well, after viewing the game film, Zorn today said Colt's near-perfect stat line was actually quite imperfect, with what he deemed to be several risky throw attempts.
Colt Brennan had a couple of plays where they could have gone either way. So I don't know how to grade those. How do you want me to grade those? No, yes. Those are things that he can learn from. He'll see. He has to become a more disciplined QB, not risk as much as he risked in the game. And this week, we saw that it was it turned out to be great for us, a great performance, but it could have easily have been the other way. We could be talking the other way that, he took too much of a risk or whatever.
You know how coaches are. They always find a way to criticize. Next preseason game for Brennan and the Skins is actually this Saturday against Hawthorne and the Bills. How about that? It'll go down in Washington. There you go.
Is that game Saturday going to be televised, do you know?
I don't know off the top of my head whether or not it will be, but I'll look into that.
Sure would be fun to watch him again.
That must have been the most watched, especially in Hawaii, the most watched NFL preseason game of all time, right? I mean, it had to be.
For a preseason game,
I did not know one person that was not sitting in front of the television watching the 3rd quarter of an NFL preseason game. Unheard of.
That's right. All right, thanks.
You're welcome.